I was just about to turn 19. It was the summer of 2014 that I left.
So what is that before or after your grandfather passed away?
It was the year that my grandfather died. So
Yeah.
Gramps died, I don't remember what month, but earlier, like the beginning of 2014, he died.
What was the shift in the church
Oh,
when,
that was yeah, that was an interesting time. So like we had known that he was sick and everything. He had dementia, but my family doesn't believe in mental issues. So
well, they
they're
call
like, he
it
doesn't have
demons,
dementia.
don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, oh no, he's just losing his mind. Like, no, he's sick. Like he's sick. He's a sick man.
Hmm.
So they what they had done was like he was staying in the church because it used to be that the church, was like separated in two halves, like the church side and the house side. And my grandparents still lived on the house side, and he was cared for there. But once he started getting real sick towards the end, they moved him out, and they had bought land. They bought one of the houses across the street from the church, across the street from where Cheryl lived, I should say.
Hmm.
Uh, and they just moved him into that house and kind of like turned that house into like a little like a containment center. It was weird. Like they put the bed in the front room of the house and then like had cameras all over the house. So it was like he was just being watched.
Hmm.
And then they would just go and like make sure that he was fed and cleaned, and that was it. They wouldn't like actually interact with him. So I'm sure like those last moments for him were scary because like he was alone. He was alone most of the time. Um, when he died, obviously the whole world finds out. And it was like, how a grenade explodes underwater. So everything like expands and then everything sucks back in. That's what it was
Hmm.
like. Like the word of him dying got out to the world. And then all of these media outlets and everybody was like sucking in, and everyone was coming to the church and seeing. So the week or so after he died, it was crazy because we were constantly on watch around the block because people were coming, and the block was constantly surrounded by people. So we were like on guard the whole time, like trying to make sure that nobody was, trying to take advantage of the weak spot that we
Yeah.
had hit in the church. So with that, then like the patriarchy, I guess, of the church, it turned it then we had like the elders of the church. So it was just like my grandfather that was like the leader of the church. And then they always had the elders, but the elders didn't really make any of the big decisions. Ultimately, it was up to Gramps. But after he died, then it really was just the elders, so the married men of the family.
Hmm.
Um, uh, so yeah, it was weird. Like a lot of things that were kind of kept like secret in a way kind of came out. So that's when a lot of people left. That's when, well, Megan had left before that, but
Hmm.
still, like, it was around this time that a lot of people were leaving and like realizing like this wasn't the place to be. Like basically the church was falling apart,
Yeah.
and that's when they kind of locked down harder with like their beliefs. And like, I don't know, I wasn't a member of the church, so a lot of it I didn't even see. Like I went to the church, but I wasn't ever baptized, so I didn't get to get any of the insider information that like Grace and Megan have.
Hmm.
They were actually in the middle of it, but I
Yeah.
had to watch from the outside and seeing everything, not being allowed to come to the church meetings and stuff. It was weird. So the shift from when Gramps died to all, multiple men being in charge of what goes on at the church, it was weird. It was a weird power shift that I can't really explain
Well,
because
the kind of feeling that I got as as a spectator of the documentaries and stuff like that was that it almost the church. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Almost took very much a patriarchal. Like it really hit down on that idea of the man ruling the house and
yes, yes.
is that true that
Oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It almost like harshened in a way because before is like we always kind of had our mother there to kind of like take the edge off a little bit. Like she was very warm. loving woman.
Mhm.
And then with this, this patriarchal shift, it was like, all right, no more like Mr. Nice Guy kind of thing. Like the father figures of all these households were like very, I don't know, it was like communication changed, like it was almost like my childhood was over once my grandfather died.
Yeah.
Because like you weren't allowed to be a kid anymore. It doesn't matter how young you were, it's like you weren't allowed at all to have these emotions that a regular child would have. Like you automatically have to look at the world like, like they believe like the world's ending constantly, the world's ending, like grow up. Like it was weird. It was just weird. Like your childhood's over. So
I can imagine.